thanks again, and introducing Anita and Cathy. Thanks so much.
Thanks, David. Hello, everyone. My name's Anita. It's an honour to be able to speak to you today about Cathy and I's experience of co-design. So my name's Anita Goh. I'm a research fellow and a clinical neuropsychologist as well, with a specialist area in dementia, which is how I came to meet Cathy and form a very strong relationship with her and the other co-designers on our dementia project. So we're going to talk about that project, but I'm going to give Cathy a few minutes to introduce herself now.
Hi, I'm Cathy Roth, and I'm chairman of an organisation called PALS, Professionals with Alzheimer's, and it's been an incredible joy to work alongside Anita to give some input into a very worthy project, and to be able to not just input, but to form a close friendship and a close working relationship that's transcended just this project on its own anyway.
So thanks, Cathy. So we'll talk about the project. So please feel free to ask us any questions about the project or how the co-design works within the project. It's a project that we're doing led by NARI, which is the only independent medical institute devoted to research on ageing in Australia. And what we do is we're very, very focused on translation science. So I think co-design fits really well within that remit, because we really want research to go from lab to clinic or lab to life, and be able to actually help people. So there's no point in research taking 17 years from go, and academic papers which no one reads, to actually helping people out there in the real world that we're hoping to help. So this particular project is called Pitch. It was an a priori co-design project. So when we submitted the grant application, which had people with living experience on it, it was always going to be a co-designed education program. So it's a specific education program for home care workers. So the people that come into your home and help you with tasks to maintain independence. So whether you've got a broken leg or a spectrum disorder or just need a little bit of help with cooking and cleaning and gardening, home care workers are the people who typically you have a hopefully long-standing relationship with to keep you at home. So for people with dementia, we knew that their dementia training was not adequate. Let's face it, they hardly got anything. If they had a certificate 3, they had 0 dementia training. If they had a certificate 4, maybe they got 3 hours. So we really knew that we wanted home care workers to know more. So we co-designed the training program, and part of that co-design was involving a project advisory group. So that's just one of the elements of co-design, but that is the origin story of Cathy and I. So you can see Cathy's here in the middle, and her husband, John, who is living with dementia in the middle there. So this aspect is our group, which really helps us with everything. But the terms of reference has kind of project governance, direction and development, makes sure that we are carrying out the project respectfully within policy and practical implications as well, whether or not us research types are conducting research that will actually be helpful. They also help us with dissemination. So we co-present at conferences and things like this, which is always fantastic. We co-author things with them, so academic publications, but then also more accessible things. And we also co-submit grants. So in research, typically we have a slot of 10 positions that we can allocate people, which is called the chief investigator slots. And they're pretty hard hotly contested in the research world, but we always keep some for our co-design team, who are the people who we're trying to help. So the kind of our philosophy, I guess. And Dash talked a little bit about her philosophy and the theory behind co-design, but we really believe in shared decision making. So we're collaborating, we're co-designing, and we're co-creating something. So if you can see that just short line down the bottom about our approach, it's a theory by Sanders and Stappers. And it's really about equality of partnerships, and everyone's in it together. There's no hierarchy. It's a very flat hierarchy. We've all got our own experience and expertise. So across the top here in these 5 bubbles is how we operationalized that. So we conducted focus groups, very in-depth interviews, and 4 co-design workshops with almost 50 people to ask them, what do you think should be in this education program? So these were people living with dementia, these were family carers, these were the home care workers, these were the people in management for the service providers for the home care workers. They were educational specialists, they were researchers, they were clinicians. Basically, if there was a stake held in the design and education dementia field, we invited them to talk to us. So this just means masses of information, masses and masses of it. So the interviews were about an hour long, so you can, with just the richness of that data, we could use to create this education program, which you can see here was phenomenal, and people were very generous with their time and their advice. I spoke about the project advisory group, and the project management group was really the group who pulled together all the information that was so generously given to come up with an actual education program, which personally is nothing that I would have ever thought it would be. As a neuropsychologist who was taught about dementia, I kind of thought maybe the home care workers would want to learn the same way I did, but they absolutely do not. And they didn't appreciate any of that stuff. So they didn't want, for example, they didn't want kind of lecture type things. They didn't want to be kind of given information. They didn't want to sit there for 45 minutes at a time, just soaking up information. They really needed it to be practical and just very applicable to who they're looking after. So why did we choose co-design in this project? Well, really, it's because we want our research to be useful, as I said before, and relevant. And we really feel that it leads to enhanced outcomes and outputs. It improves the quality of services, more real world applicable, people are more likely to use it, and results are more likely to be sustainable. I'm going to hand over to Cathy to tell us about her experience.
Thanks, Anita. Those who've come from high-functioning roles and are diagnosed with dementia are often, because of governance requirements, required to retire much earlier than perhaps they would have in different roles. But they're still at a high-functioning level, and their whole life socially and workplace professionally has often been built round the workplace in which they're based, and they experience a great disconnect once they're having to retire. They miss the environment of being treated professionally, of the high-powered interaction socially and mentally, and they seek the intellectual stimulation that may lead to the ongoing creation of new neural pathways. We find those who attend PALS and who enjoy it most are those who have an early diagnosis of dementia, that they've come from a managerial or an academic or a business professional base, and are used to seeking out that peer level interaction and a stimulating environment. It gives them a chance to input to each other and to input back to us. And it's that input back that we've been able to capture and utilise in the co-design. And just as an aside, the Australian government Workforce 19 analysis had 39% of the workforce works in professional roles and 9% in senior management roles. So nearly 50% of the population falls into our catchment demographic. So how does PALS work? Well, we bring those attending back into the boardroom setting, and we have high-powered presenters who are able to keep that stimulation that they were used to in their lives. And we find from that leads to active discussion groups. So when we're putting forward theories that we want to verify or we want some analysis, this analytical group is basically an insightful, analytical, solution-based think tank, and we utilise that in our co-design. So Anita, back to how that fits in. So we work as a team, and we found that we have amazingly shared values and needs in working as a team. And Anita can expand on that.
So I think one of the things, thanks Cathy, one of the things that we did for this talk, for this community forum, was to talk about what our shared goals were, or what our goals were. So for me, if this slide recommends an academic, which apparently I am, what I want to do is, I want to recruit for my studies so they're impactful. I want to increase my skills all the time. I want my work to be meaningful. I want my research to be useful. And really, I got into this game because I wanted to help people, as a helping professional, and for my academic work to help people. So I really wanted it to help those people with dementia and people impacted by dementia, like family carers. I want to improve policies and enhance practice, and I always want to be innovative and have excellence in my work. For Cathy, when she was identifying the goals about why research and why co-design, she wanted to contribute to society, for future generations, having her input and her expertise may assist family members, to feel like a valued member of society, to know about new treatments, and to turn a personal problem or disadvantage into a positive. So when I was kind of typing this all out into a slide, it kind of became apparent that these could easily be switched over, and our goals are very much shared goals. And I also want to do all these things that Cathy wants to do, and Cathy wants research, to be the things that academics want. So I think that's why co-design is such a powerful methodology, in that, we can't or we shouldn't do things without each other. If we want, all the taxpayer dollars in my account, this is an NHMRC funded project, which means it's government funded, for people to actually benefit from that, $1.7 million that we got for this grant. There's a lot of people involved. So you can see, when I talk about stakeholders, all these people are actually assisted by this project because it's out there in the service providers. It's in all these people's, we're training all these home care workers in dementia. So the people with dementia and the family carers are treated as a unit, and, their care is evidence-based. And you can see our team members here. It's a massive team. And, in terms of co-design, having everyone on a flat hierarchy and getting everyone's input has been super valuable. And this doesn't even include our 100 or so of co-designers that we went to in the first place. And I think our premise really is nothing about us without us. So that's a kind of a phrase from the disability movement initially, and really it's something that underpins a lot of our research, specifically in co-design. So thank you so much for your attention. This is how you can contact us, and I'll also put the New Pals website in the chat as well.
Cathy and Anita, thank you so much. What a wonderful organisation. And thank you so much for that point at the end about why we do this and the shared values. Yeah, I think that's absolutely something that I'd love to for everyone to chat a little bit more about later. And also that nothing about us without us. I think that's awesome. Thank you both. Let's now move to our next partnership, which is Sam Peterson, Monique Costa and Kate Cruz, and their project about storytelling and housing. Thanks so much.
Thanks, David, and hi everybody. It's great to see everybody still here, and we're really excited to be a part of this forum today.